Linking theory and research is the topic for today's discussion, and we see that the theory has a very important role in research. If we look at theory, the logical explanation could be verified through research, and that research means something which is empirical. So therefore, when we are looking into the role of theory in research, I could very easily say that it provides us the background, the approach, how to do research, or research is to be done on what. So researchers are often trying to do research in a particular framework. Now that framework, that model, that background, that context is provided by a theory. And since there are variety of theories, a number of theories, therefore I would say that there are different perspectives, different frameworks for doing research. So there could be a number of possible connections between theory and research, and the first one is a theory as an orientation. So in that, orientation implies the outlook, the approach to move in which direction, for example. So it specifies the factors that researchers should be able to measure. That's the framework, that's the model. You might say it's more like a blueprint. जिस तरह नक्शा किसी बिल्डिंग का पहले बनाते हैं, ये उसी किस्म की बात है जिसको हम फ्रेमवर्क के लिहाज से कहते हैं कि हमने करना क्या है रिसर्च के लिए. It provides us the background, the model, and also the direction in which way we have to move. For example, if there could be a reality, and that reality could be looked at from different angles, different perspectives, in different frameworks. So look at the reality of football. Now, football could be looked at from different angles. Maybe from its leather, it might be looked at from, let's say, chemical framework. Then this football is prepared in a particular, let us say, factory or in an industry where you come across lots of people who are employed. That might be looked at from the labor force angle. The same football might be looked at from the sports activity. Now that sports activity might be bringing different communities together. It might be means of interaction between different communities as means of developing, let us say, relationships between one area and another area, one kind of community and another kind of community, one country and another country. So the same reality could be looked at from different angles, different perspectives. So focus on something manageable, and that manageable comes from the, let us say, perspective from the theoretical framework. And in that framework, we try to decide what aspects are to be studied, what features are to be studied, what are the items which are to be looked at. So that is very important from the angle of the theory, as it gives some kind of guideline, some kind of guidance, some kind of orientation in which direction to move. Second important point, contribution of theory is its contribution of conceptualization and classification. So when we look at the theory, it provides us ready-made kind of concepts. So one, ready-made concepts, the other, new things come, new realities emerge. We also develop new concepts. So theory provides us that conceptual kind of reservoir. We may have found something, new reality, new fact. Now that fact has also to be given some label, some name, or technically we call it as a concept. So theory has, let us say, reservoir of concepts, and these concepts are necessary for purposes of communication, and that is how we try to use concepts in making sentences, statements, phrases, and the development of the theory. And that is how we call concepts as building blocks of theory. So we try, with the help of these very concepts, we try to develop abstract kind of frameworks, abstract kind of models, which become the basis of our, let us say, going on to carry out the research. The third item is summarizing role. So individuals might be conducting research here and there, and there might be so many pieces of research, and these pieces of researches might be put together. These might be, let us say, collaborated with each other, synthesized with each other, and the findings of different researches might lead to, and they do lead to, let us say, a theoretical kind of developments. Now, maybe 10 different researches conducted at different places. We put all these researches together, and these are summarized in the form of more like generalizations. So I could say that one of the important roles of theory is to put these researches together, integrate these researches together, and out of that particular process of integration, maybe we come up generalizations. So in that context, I might say that theory helps in making generalizations about the phenomenon, about the society. Fourthly, theory predicts facts. So outcome of summarizing role could be making predictions about the future. So we might be making extrapolations from that evidence, that finding at a particular place, which might be an outcome of, let us say, development or a change in a particular society, and we could make generalizations to other areas, other situations. For example, when industrialization comes, and it brings lots of changes in the society. One of the changes in the society is that its population gets affected. The rate of growth of population gets affected. Now, we can say from that generalization, we can say that any society which undergoes the process of, let's say, industrialization is likely to experience that kind of changes in the composition of the population, in the total of the population, in the characteristics of the population. So that is how theory can make predictions about changes in the society which might be in the future. And lastly, theory points gaps in knowledge. So when we are trying to develop theories, the theorists or the researchers or the intellectuals might come up that something is missing. And if something is missing, then that's an area which needs further research. For example, we have lots of research in the area of crime, and people try to talk about, let's say, poverty and crime and many other things. But when we look at this, let's say, literature in the area of crime, we do not find that much evidence in the area of white-collar crime. So that might be some kind of gap which has to be filled by the researchers. So that is how the theory makes that kind of contribution. So these are different, let us say, roles which theory plays in the area of research. That is how it supplements research.